I wanted to watch this. One of my least favorite people talking about my new least favorite person. Now, I don't. You know what it is? I don't hate Anthony Fantano. I'm being a little jokester. I don't hate Anthony Fantano. I think the guy is really smart, but I think a lot of times he's sort of gotten he's gotten himself down this rabbit hole of like, I don't know what it is. Well, I'll be straight up. I think his politics make him make very goofy and silly decisions, and he can't separate the politics from the music and stuff. Like, his whole shit where he just goes, Kanye's new album is unlistenable. And it's like, hey, you can completely come after Kanye. You completely, dismiss Kanye, his political opinions when he's saying nasty things about Jews and he's saying that stuff about Hitler. That's just like, dude, what are we talking about? You can like very easy, and any sensible person can very easily be like, all right, that dude's fucked up. I mean, but just like on a music basis, you're like, oh yeah, but his album's unlistenable. By the way, I'm gonna give Lil Pump a 9 or whatever the fuck he did. He has these things that he does. Like, I remember I watched he had the one video where he was talking about what the fuck was it? He was talking when the Richmond, north of Richmond guy, I forget the gentleman's name, but he was saying like there was an underlying tone of how, it was pro-Confederacy and this guy actually wanted slavery back and all. It's like, what are you talking about? So he clearly lets his politics affect his decisions on what music is good and bad and this and that, which I think is a very foolish activity to partake in. And also too, as a guy who is sort of a little bit more politically out there, I don't feel like I am, but to a lot of people, I think they may consider me that, just being a more libertarian anarchist type philosophically and shit like that. I have to constantly interact with people that have, completely opposite political opinions. You know what I mean? So to see people, who have pretty standard political opinions get very butthurt about stuff, I go, oh, what a privilege. What a privilege that you can ignore artists that disagree with you politically and you can let your politics make you seem so like, I don't know. It is this, I saw someone recently say it, and I think Fantano lines up with this a little bit, where it's like progressive privilege, where you can have this up your own ass mindset where you can sort of go around and it's like the idea that people would disagree with you and how dismissive you can naturally just become because of that. It's like, brother, I wish I could, I wish I had the privilege to do that. I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't have anyone to fucking hang out with. You know what I mean? If I found music, if I listen to my music, or if I let political opinion affect what music I listen to, I mean, I might listen to 5 bands. Like, truthfully, there might be like 5 bands I could listen to. So this idea that like you're gonna let your politics really affect the type of music you listen to, or what is listenable or unlistenable, it's like, to me, that's the height of music privilege. But anyway, either way, I think Anthony's a smart dude. I just think he lets this stuff get in his way sometimes. So sometimes he has weird fucking opinions. You know what I mean? He'll give, like I said it before, he'll give Lil Pump a higher rating than he gave like a Joey Badass album or some crazy shit like that. But regardless, he makes interesting points, and I saw he's talking about Finn McGinty, which we just dropped an episode on the main Drag the Lake channel. We talked about that. I felt like a fucking, on my part, I felt like a little bit of a chump because I defended the guy from time to time, and then he just comes out and acts like a whole fucking piece of shit. So I'm on a real, I wouldn't say scorched earth, but I'm a big fan of people shitting on him right now. So let's see what Anthony has to say.
Man down, man down. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Let's talk about a bit of a tectonic shift that just happened on music YouTube. A fellow content creator on this platform who for a long time, really for a period of years, has operated in the music space, has recently called it quits. No more YouTube or music or even Twitch content. Totally done. kaput talking about Mr. Finn McKenty, aka the punk rock MBA. Finn is somebody whose content I have consumed for a minute. He is somebody who I have.
And I as well, and I made that point on my podcast, and that's why it almost bugged me more than it probably should have, because I've watched a bunch of his shit, and he's honestly, like I said this on the pod, but I really do think Finn was, I think he wants people to just like stop bothering him, because I don't think he wants to deal with the commenters and shit like that, who are just constantly fucking coming at, which I can get, but also at the same time, I was saying on the pod, I was like, bro, you know, he was talking in his interview about bad vibrations. It's like, dude, you made a lot of bad vibrations yourself by just the sheer act of, like being a phony. Just like flat out being a fucking phony, saying you were like into it the way you were into it and not actually being into it. It's like, brother, you're putting out some pretty heavy bad vibrations. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy for you when people, you know, I don't want people to dox you or anything. I don't know if they were doing that, but it's like, I hope they're not doing the doxing shit or anything like that. But at the end of the day, if you're getting a little bit of hate, it's probably because you're putting out negative energy into the world. But yeah.
Done some crossover content with. I have literally met this man in person, and for a while I sort of watched his channel from afar. And
oh yeah, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing I was gonna fucking say is I just remembered I was gonna say was, you know, and because I do think he actually gave a bit of his shit about music. I do think he definitely over you know, algorithmicized his fucking channel and shit like that, if that's even a real word. But the dude had some good opinions, so he clearly knew, you know, he claims he never listened to fucking System of a Down, but at the same time, he clearly knew some shit. He knew some shit about shit. So, yeah, I don't know. It's all very interesting.
And regardless of whether or not he covered artists that I like, regardless of whether or not he expressed musical or even political opinions that I personally agreed with, he was somebody who was very persistent and consistent with his content release schedule, with what I saw to be his content quality. Disagreements aside, he was somebody who, I don't know, I didn't really have a whole lot of smoke for, because he just seemed like somebody who worked really hard at what he did and knew what he was doing when it came to just making music content. I mean, for anybody who...
By the way, just looking at his face right now, not to just hit Anthony with a stray, just looking at his face, I get why rappers get so fucking mad at him. Because if they were like, okay, this top YouTube, also, I really have a feeling his mustache is not lined up properly, which I'm not the most put together from a facial hair standpoint, so I'm not trying to throw too much shade, but it doesn't, I don't know if it's the angle or not, but it does not look balanced. But can you imagine being a rapper, came from the hood, you put out your album, and then this white face? I think he's technically biracial, and he's like a ultra progressive, so I think he uses that as, I could be wrong, I can't remember, but he uses that as points. But you see that white looking face with the little beanie, and you know he's bald and he's inside and it's not necessary, and you see the little round Harry Potter glasses, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I could see, you know, everyone has a right to their own opinion, but I could see from the rapper standpoint just having your brain melt going, what the actual shit is going on?
Is uninitiated, the brand proposition for a Finn McKenty, for a punk rock MBA, was essentially that he was, as a content creator, marrying his passion for music and his background as somebody who was involved and engrossed in the underground West Coast music scene decades ago. You take that and combine it with his background as somebody who successfully has worked.
I had to Google who you were talking about. You're one to talk looking like Casio. Oh, by the way, if I upload this later on YouTube, twitch.tv/AndyMalafrina, if you want to get in the chat and also make fun of my physical appearance, you're one to talk looking like Casio. Well, that's what I fucking said. You know what I mean? Yo, dude, that was the point. Here's the guy, by the way. Oh, this guy. This fucking guy. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but I also too, like, I also don't look like a caricature of a you know, if you typed into AI like most annoying hipster, like, I'm not gonna pop up. His face is gonna pop up. That's more the point I was making. But I also threw in the fact, I was like acknowledging my lack of quality, but just, call a spade a spade. This is brutal. Honestly though, if a fucking dude saw this face talking about rap, I have the face of a white guy obsessed with hip hop. So honestly, I think a rapper might be like, well, okay, he clearly has autism, so maybe he actually has a decent opinion. Yeah, you're coming from my throat today, Rito. What's up? What's up your butt today? You're being a little nasty jerk in the chat.
For years in marketing, and you get an analysis that sort of tries to understand and contextualize why certain artists and music movements, be they underground or mainstream, took off or got popular, where they went after sort of like the wave crested. I mean, Finn did have a history of making pretty thorough and usually well-received videos, which is why it's kind of shocking for certain comments to come to light in this recent interview he did with hardcore and underground rock commentator Jesse Lee.
Is that why you stopped making videos, just because of all the negativity?
No, it's because like I don't really have any interest in music, so I was just doing it for the money, and I hit my financial goals, and so there's really just no reason for me. Like, I don't have to keep doing it. I'm not, our time on this earth is limited. Like, don't spend it doing shit you don't have to do if you don't want to. It's like I made enough money from this. I don't have to keep making videos about System of a Down, so I'm gonna stop.
Man, so you really didn't enjoy it at all? There's just like no part of you that was like, oh, I'm excited to talk about this band today or anything like that. It was always just completely transactional.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in music at all.
You don't miss it then. That's what you're getting at.
No.
Yeah.
It's the money is nice, but I made enough from it that I'm good.
Yes, at least a few times in this interview.
I'll be honest too, I respected his there was part of me that did respect his honesty. Yeah, Buster, you gotta chill, dude. That I almost had a heart attack. I saw the end and I was like then I saw the fucking stars and I was like, thank Christ, brother. Thank you. Thank you for keeping my channel, the health of my channel in your heart.
Review posted to YouTube. He confirms a general and total lack of interest in music, even confirms that he has never actively sought out listening to bands like System of a Down.
You just seem like such a wealth of knowledge. Like you knew so.
That did actually fucking piss me off. Just to actively be like, I've never listened to. You've never listened to System of a Down? Fucking bless yourself. Bless yourself with that experience. What the hell, dude?
So much about the topics you were talking about that I was like, dude.
I'd never type that word online under any circumstance. Yeah, that's a good way to maneuver.
I can't make content. Like I don't know, like the encyclopedia history of all these bands, but
neither do I. It's just literally look it up on Wikipedia. I don't know. Like I've never listened to System of a Down in my life.
I mean, he puts it a bit more bluntly than that. I want to give the guy some credit because I'm presuming at some point across his lifetime, he has to have heard Chop Suey and Passing.
Yeah, it's honestly, he makes a good point. It's hard to just not, it's hard to have never heard, because I think Finn McGintley's, he's in his late 30s. I'm 34, so I'm on my way to my late 30s, but I think he's closer to 40. I mean, brother, how are you that age and you've never heard Chop Suey? Maybe he means he's never gone out of his way to listen to System of a Down. But yeah, there is something with his dismissive nature that I'm almost I genuinely think he's actively doing a thing to get people to hate him more so they want to fuck with him less. But, we talked about it with the fucking who the fuck was it? The drummer of My Chemical Romance who passed away. It's like that dude hasn't been in the band for 10 years and fans still constantly were checking in on him being like, oh, is he saying something that's going to upset me? So yeah, I don't know. It really goes back to bad vibrations. It's I don't know, dude. I'm not going to put all the blame on you, but I think you got to take some responsibility for being a phony and putting out bad vibrations.
No. But yeah, despite the fact that this man has made...
Fortunately, Twitch won't let you post that unedited or unfortunately. Okay, well, that's good. Because Twitch has that feature where they're you can type in words there's certain words you can type in that if the users say that, their message won't pop up in chat or something like that. And I'm like, do I have to go in and type the N-word? I was like, I don't want to do that. Oh, yeah.
Content about System of a Down, he claims to have never really listened to them, which I guess you have to presume is the case for maybe a lot of the artists that he talked about on his channel on a regular basis. But when you analyze, I guess.
Yeah, very good point. Never listen to, I don't listen to Chaperone, but yeah, everyone's heard Hot to Go. Wake up, suck on my dick and put on your makeup. Hell yeah, dude.
Guess like the genetic makeup of Finn's content for the most part, I guess like it's not that hard to believe because a lot of his videos would have more to do with kind of like the historical background and context of a certain band, how they started, where they started, what their influences were, like what basically the musical and
well, the fact that I think is what he's kind of getting at, but the fact that like Finn was saying read a Wikipedia article, summarized it, and then just like made the video. And if he also has no problem with being like a phony in his videos, he can just throw out opinion. It's like everyone knows, like if you're broadly, well, he would be a guy who's like, he's not enjoying it, but he's still keeping up to date with music. And he's still doing like 2 Twitch streams a week. So he sees what people are saying. You get a feeling of the general vibe on a band. So it's like you can go into those videos not having any real opinion and just saying what you think sounds right and what will get people engaged and stuff like that. So the idea that he says those videos, you know, he just goes on fucking Wikipedia and just bullshits it, like that's completely believable to me.
And again, contextual DNA of a certain group or genre was within the era that it existed, which, yeah, I guess you don't necessarily have to be a big music aficionado in order to research these facts and bits of information and then compile them into a video.
Well, yeah, and that's what I heard you say that one time in an interview. You're like, yeah, I just basically read a Wikipedia page and I'll show up some pictures and some, context.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, technically I could, without ever having heard a Velvet Underground song, for example, probably use the internet to find a bunch of information about the Velvet Underground and who's in the band and what songs they wrote and which songs are the biggest and what they inspired and what other artists kind of borrowed from them and what artists they borrowed from and so on and so forth, and incorporate some stuff about Andy Warhol in there somewhere. Yeah, especially with my journalism degree, I probably could pull together such a video about a band such as VU.
Oh yeah, like it's that journalism degree that makes you able to read things. It's, that journalism degree is so helpful. It makes you such a smart guy. Yeah. Thank God you had that journalism degree. How are you going to read info and figure out the general synopsis of it?
Without having heard their music. However, would I do that? Especially as a YouTuber, like just starting out and trying to build a channel? No, probably not. Not only...
Well, I mean, his channel did get fucking huge. So, I mean, if you go look up the Punk Rock MBA, his channel did get fucking huge. So, I think it actually, for the other bullshit... Damn, I would love to watch a little kid play fucking Ampile 2. That rips. Yeah, I mean, if you type in punk rock, he's one of the first. I mean, that's the recent search from me. But even if you type in punk rock, he's one of the first people that come up. But no, if you go to his YouTube channel, like he had videos that got fucking views. You know what I mean? He's got a couple videos in the millions. He's got plenty of videos in the hundreds of thousands. It's like, dude, that's enough. Yeah, like a lot of videos in the 100,000 range. That's enough to get you some decent money, get you a couple grand every month and shit like that. So, it's if we're having a conversation about integrity, it's not really a thing you want to do. But for the success of a channel, yeah, being a phony can be... it may hurt your credibility and shit in the long run, but being phony can make you very successful, without a doubt.
Andy Warhol in there somewhere. Yeah, especially with my journalism degree, I probably could pull together such a video about a band such as VU without having heard their music. However,
maybe it's because I don't like the Velvet Underground. I mean, I respect the hell out of their influence, but maybe it's because I don't like the Velvet Underground. But something about calling them VU bugs the shit out of me.
would I do that, especially as a YouTuber, like just starting out and trying to build a channel? No, probably not. Not only because that would be a little disingenuous, but on top of that, the process of making that video would be pretty grueling, and it would be odd to me personally to sink all of that effort into something that I wasn't even really all that invested in the first place.
See, that actually wouldn't be that hard, because he literally says in the interview, how long has his channel been around? Because literally, I've been messing around with ChatGPT recently. Yeah, growing up poor. Yeah, dude, he's been doing, like, these are pretty simple videos. These are pretty simple, opinionated music videos. Okay, so here we go with Fall Out Boy and shit like that. And then when did ChatGPT come around? ChatGPT came out 2020. Okay, so this may not completely go for my thing. So, because I've been messing around with the AI tools. ChatGPT had some weird thing where they were charging you, and the Gronk 2 is free. So I've been messing around with Gronk 2 more. And it's like, dude, I could set up like a whole script. And actually, dude, this is actually really fucking cool. If you look on the YouTube page, I'm going to reveal how, well, I mean, you guys can see the views for the, you can see the views for No More Heroes. You know how low they are, so I'm not fucking snitching on myself. But like even YouTube now has, yeah, this shit right here. This is crazy to me. Inspiration. So it literally will like give you ideas, history of the FBI behind the scenes, and then it'll give you, the video will delve into the often overlooked history of the FBI, exploring its origins, evolution, and its role in shaping American society. You'll be given a glimpse into the inner workings of the Bureau and discover some less known facts that may surprise you. That's a fucking, dude, this is insane. Like literally it'll give you like an outline for the video and all this other shit. So chat, like, I don't know what the punk rock NBA shit dude been doing, but I will say this, like, for doing it now, for, like in the context of what Anthony was saying, for starting a new video, for starting a new channel, no, it's actually incredibly low effort. But then if you just take the fact that like you can just go to Wikipedia, and type in Fall Out Boy. You can type it out badly, and then it autocorrects, and you can go to the actual page, and you know they're more of a famous band, so it's a little bit. Well, actually, no, it's not even that long. Most of this is just graphs for the awards they've won. But dude, literally, you can just go paragraph by. This will take you like an hour or two at most. If like you're really focused, this will take you like an hour to just you take these paragraphs and you break them down, because it's easy to make like a 15-minute video where you're just like, this is the history of a band. So you just go to their Wikipedia, break this down, throw up some pictures and shit like that. And I'm not saying you should do that, because that was like a big problem with me, where it's like, it's annoying watching these people do, because like I'm passionate about this shit. I like talking about music because I think this music is so fucking good, and I want to promote it, and I want to get it bigger, and I want these bands to make $1 bajillion, and like you can make a better living at this music. You know, just more people enjoying the genre, and it's like I'm becoming I know according to Twitter I'm still in the rookie years, I'm still a poser, but I'm just such a huge fan of hardcore, and I see like all the like I didn't grow up with it, but I like be like getting into it as an adult. I see all the fucking shit, and I'm like, this rules. I'm gung ho about it. You know, this is like the most fun ever. So, you know, for the toxic negative nature of Finn McGintley, you know, fuck that guy. But if you don't care about that shit, if you don't care about the bad vibes you're putting out in the world, it is insanely easy to do a channel like his. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But in this interview with Jesse Lee, that's essentially what Finn admits to doing. And again, you may be wondering, like, if Finn has no interest in music at all, why was he doing this all of this time? Well, I mean, short answer, the money. I mean, that's literally what he says in the...
And I'll say it again, not to keep pausing it so often, but I'll say it again. I do think he had an interest in music. I think, but, you know, because I don't know, you don't just like get into that shit. You know, it's not like he was just some random dude and he's like, no one's talking about early 2000s metalcore. Maybe I'll talk about this. Like, I think he talked about going to shows back in the day. I just think he wasn't passionate about it.
Interview, and he is now quitting now that he has reached his financial goals. So I guess he has made enough money. Now, instead of doing YouTube, he just wants to focus on LinkedIn and, maybe start some kind of thing where he is doing consulting for other people who are looking to make content and build brands and social media pages and so on and so forth, which I think he may see a very successful career in, given just how he was able to so cynically operate in the music field for so long with no real interest in it. Look, though, at the end of the day, I do want to give Finn just a touch of credit before I really kind of like lay into this story and say that, I wouldn't say that this channel and Finn's content didn't come from a place of love, at least a little bit. It just wasn't a love for music. And that's the thing. As you listen to this interview with Jesse Lee, if you do, it becomes very apparent that, like, what Finn's drive behind the punk rock MBA was really sort of like a desire to build himself up and market himself and sort of like, have a really first-person hands-on approach to the entire experience of building a brand from the ground up. However, building a channel such as the Punk Rock MBA is not merely just a general exercise in social media marketing. At the end of the day, it was, in fact, a music channel. So in order to execute that marketing and execute it well, you're going to have to engage at least a little bit on some level with the music world and music and drama in the music world, news stories in the music world, the history of the artists that you're engaging with on a regular basis and their fan bases, which Finn sort of displays open contempt for at multiple points in this conversation. He really kind of reduces a lot of the viewers to some of his content down to just being like
smooth-brained, low-vibration people just want some negativity to fucking blurt out their dumb fucking opinions about.
Which, granted, in my own experience as a...
Yeah, and I wonder if he's about to say something similar to me. It's like, I'm thinking about it now, like, don't be a YouTuber then, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I know, I was joking earlier. Rito was hitting those jokes. I was like, yo, dude, but at the same time, like, I'm on Twitch. I podcast. I do comedy. It's like, I was joking about it before we started watching this, where it's like, if I was sitting here being like, whoa, people on the internet are making fun of me. And also, I know you guys listen to the pod, so it's all out of love at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's that thing where you're like, hold the phone. People on the internet are fucking mean. You're like, yeah, dude. Is this your first day? Like, don't start a YouTube channel then. You know what I'm saying? Don't fucking Twitch stream. Don't do all that shit. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? For some reason, Sumerian Records posted a movie trailer about a 1930s female wrestler to their YouTube page. That's really interesting. No, I fucking hate your guts, Andy. Yeah, and I love you, Rito. And I'm gonna spread love, not hate. No, yeah, I love you, Rito.
Music commentator and reviewer. Sure, if you go throughout the comments of any one of my videos, especially, the ones where the reviews are not very positive, you're going to catch a lot of negativity. You're going to catch a lot of hateful pushback on the stuff that I say and the opinions that I give. It doesn't feel good to get those kinds of comments and engagements on a regular basis. But if you are coming at this from a place of love and passion for music, what usually ends up taking the edge off of that inconvenience is the fact that you get to continue engaging with this art form that you love so dearly. And
dude, and he has a point there. And I do think a lot of times Fantano's being a little bit of a fibber right here, because there's a lot of times where he's a nasty fucker, but it's funny half the time. I'll give him props. Like, he reviewed one album because everyone, I think it was like some rap album. And that's why I also too don't talk about rap. As I used to talk about rap all the time, because like I said, it's like I went through rap. I went through college is when I got really into hip hop and rap and shit. I always listened to it, but I got like hardcore into it in college and shit. And then when I got out of college, I was doing a lot of like rap content because that's what I was talking about. But then like I would just see all these opinions online, and it was just seeing the fucking uphill battle it was going to be, and then like mix that with being a white dude who looks like this. I was like, I was like, I don't know if this is 100% my genre. I don't know if this is 100%, I don't know. Yeah, what's the term there? I'm a visitor. Or what? No, it was just like, oh no, I don't know if I feel this in my fucking, like when I talk about punk rock and emo and hardcore and stuff like that, I say that shit with my chest. I don't know if I was there like that with hip hop, and then mix that with, okay, so this is going back to the video of his I was going to reference, where it was like him, there was like this rap album, and I remember, I forget exactly which one it was, but I remember checking it out when he made the video, and I was like, no, he's right. This is really fucking bad. And then you see all the people in the rap space and the hip hop space go like, this guy's a fucking fool. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I was like all that aspect of rap and shit just felt like I was in the upside down. So I was like, all right, maybe I'd stick to genres that like make sense to me, because maybe I don't know. I don't know. It would just, I just saw the headache over the horizon. I was like, maybe I switch to genres that make a little bit more sense to me. But at the same time, he is a bit of a nasty fucker at times with a shit like this.
And in the moments when you're not doing a negative review or sort of maybe a critical assessment of something that people might not receive well, you also get the opportunity to heap praise on artists and projects and records that actually are fantastic and worth people's time and are worth praising and being excited about. And yeah, I could sort of see from Finn's perspective, if that is not something that drives you and that is not something that you're interested in, then the process of doing a music channel in any form, even one that's mostly just around history and context, would become very tiresome and really grueling over time, because you're constantly dealing with an audience, with a crowd of people who frankly you don't really identify with in any way whatsoever, because you don't align in terms of passions or interests.
Yeah, wow, that's actually kind of hilarious how it like lined up perfectly with what I was saying about the hip hop shit. It's like I love hip hop and rap, but I don't know if my general opinion aligns with like the masses, and like I don't have the passion to like fight that fight. Yeah, and this also too just reinforces a lot of the shit about Finn, where I'm like, it kind of feels like it's a you thing that you're like, don't get me wrong, a lot of the genres he talks about, there's a lot of like insane, toxic, over the top people. Like I talked about before, the fucking My Chemical Romance fans that were like happy the guy died. It's like there's some insane people over here. But at the same time, if you're going into it and you don't have passion behind what you're saying, it's, you may not be directly trying to do this, but people are going to sense that, and you're going to create way more negativity than you want.
Their interest, the reason they're going to your channel, is music. Your interest, the reason you're doing this channel, is marketing. I mean, this is just like kind of psychotic and sad. Imagine being like a long time Finn McKenty fan, and you love the guy and you love his channel and you think he does good stuff, and then you kind of like come to learn that he just hates what he does, and he just doesn't really think all that highly of music fans, and even sometimes at points in this interview, musicians themselves.
Yeah, like if you can't make money, if you're getting millions of eyeballs on your shit and you can't turn that into money, like you suck. Like if the only way you can think of to monetize that is to fucking go get people to show up to a venue, like that's just, you suck. Musicians are a lost cause. Like they can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. I know lots of people on LinkedIn with less than 10,000 followers that are making way more money than anybody in any band.
Yeah, I'm like I'm a little like half and half on that. I see where he's coming from because that's like a point I've made before. We're like, I get where he's coming from, legitimately. Like, there is something to say about some of these musicians where if you have that many eyeballs on your shit online, like you should, but you're also complaining about not having money. It's like, well, you should maybe take the time to maybe figure out how to, you can take advantage of that and monetize it in certain ways. And I don't think that makes you this like phony sellout or anything like that. I just think it's like being smart for the long run. But at the same time, this is a weird space to be in if you don't have this like strong passion behind it. So if you're just completely driven by the money, then that's like, yeah, you're going to put that fucking negativity out in the world. And it's like, yeah, I think people need to stop having this allergy to like wanting to make money. But, at the same time, if you're looking at getting rich over here, then that might not be the way to go. But it's like, like, I was joking about it, back to the thing talking about ads or whatever the fuck. I was joking about it where, and, like I said, I eventually turned off the ads because I realized after a 3-hour stream, I was only making 2 cents off the fucking 3-minute ads every hour. So that's fucking sucks. So I'm going to ratchet that down and shit like that. But at the same time, like from a perspective of like a podcaster where it's like I'm putting out all this content, I'm putting out so much free content every week, and then to have someone come at me because I dare decide to make a couple bucks at it because it's like, hey, can I make a little bit of money doing this? And then someone comes at you about that. You're like, all right, well, fuck me, I guess. I think it's okay to be, it's like, obviously people want to make money at doing shit. But if money's your only driving force in this shit, it's like you're gonna, like I keep saying, you're gonna put out bad vibes into the world.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, while I have met Finn in person, he is somebody who I wouldn't say I know super duper personally and intimately. So I don't want to come on here and just like straight up say, Finn mckenty, he's a terrible, bad, awful guy. But the fact of the matter is, whether or not he intends for this to be the case, in this interview, he really comes off like a frickin' jerk. A guy who clearly got into the music content game for the wrong reasons, and rather than internalizing and reassessing his own bad decision making, and just think like, what the hell is the point? Why did I do this? This was dumb of me. Yeah, instead of being self-critical, he is taking his own terrible decision-making out on music fans and musicians alike, just being really nasty and dismissive and, frankly, disrespectful. You're the guy who made a fucking music channel at the end of the day. Nobody made you do that. Like, that was your choice. Yeah, there are people on my YouTube channels who in the comments are just like, Anthony, when are you going to start, like, a movie channel or like review?
No, it's very true. It is like, dude, I mean, he's talking about how much money you can make on LinkedIn with not having that many followers and stuff like that. And if you watch that full interview he with that Jesse guy, he's talking about he's able to make a couple grand coaching people on, doing similar YouTube bullshit. It's like, yeah, you didn't have to fucking do the music shit. And then the irony was, if you watch that full interview, he talks about doing the music shit because he's like, oh, I was getting really far in my, like my skills were getting really good, but because I wasn't a name in his marketing or whatever career he was in before that, he's like, my skills were getting really good, but I didn't have a name, so like it didn't fucking matter. And then it's like, you were the one who created a name under fraudulent pretenses. So it's like, I feel like you got to own that way more than and he's just trying to blame other people. I feel like you got to own that more.
Who made a fucking music channel at the end of the day. Nobody made you do that. Like, that was your choice. Yeah, there are people on my YouTube channels who in the comments are just like, Anthony, when are you going to start like a movie channel or like review some video games or da-da-da-da-da. While I enjoy those styles of media and art, my passion and my focus for those things only runs so deep. I mean, yeah, movies are great, but would I want to run a channel where just like my entire life is movies and all I'm thinking about and talking about and consuming every fucking day is movies? No. And that's why I don't do a movie channel. The amount of movies I consume and the amount of engagement that I give to the world of movies for me right now is at a happy medium. I'm fine with it. It's music that I want more of, and that's why I do the music thing. Let this video be a warning and a reminder to anybody else who is potentially considering entering this space, doing some content, doing some whatever. If you are to engage with the music world in the way that I do, or in the way that even Finn did, please do it from a place of passion. The amount of legitimate...
I agree. It's a silly thing to do. You know, once again, I always, you know, it's completely fine to want to make money at doing this shit. But if your whole focus is making money and getting rich, it's like you're going to be putting out bad shit and putting out bad vibes.
And steady and stable careers in the world of music, they're few and far between as is. And if you are actually going to take up a spot, take up a space that somebody else could potentially be in.
Oh, 100. I was not ready to agree with Fantano so much in this video, because that's the point I was making on the pod this week. It's like, that's the other part of it that drives me crazy, because you see it in comedy a lot. There's a bunch of people who are just like there's always a certain group of people that aren't hot enough to be an actor, so they get into comedy to try to, like, because if you get popular in stand-up, you can sort of segue into being an actor. You can almost like buck the system a little bit, because you're like, well, I don't have to be super duper hot. I'm a comedian, and which a lot of comedians like love comedy, but they genuinely want to start acting. I'm talking about the people who, like, once they pop off, you just don't see them do stand-up anymore. So, you know, I have firsthand experience it with stand-up, and it's very frustrating when you're passionate about stand-up and you want to do spots, and then, you know, you realize there's so many extra people that are just in the way. So yeah, from this, and it's similar with, I'm a guy who also talks about music and shit a bunch on YouTube. So he, like, I showed it before, the dude gets a lot of views on his videos. So that's, you know, that's time that could be, those people are spending time watching his videos when they could be spending time watching people who are a little bit more passionate about it, who are actually giving, like, thought out opinions, not just copying and pasting from Wikipedia and shit. So that was another point I was making, where it's just like, dude, like, these people who are clearly just in the way, just go do a different thing. You're clearly good at facilitating a thing to make money. Go make money at something you're passionate about. You know, so there can be more room for people here who are actually passionate about it.
And if you're going to be there doing something, filling a role, filling a void that someone else could, if you are going to achieve such a position, regardless of what that position is, you should at least be excited to be in that spot. You should be talking about music because you're excited to be talking about music, just as I am, whether I'm, doing a Kendrick Lamar GNX review 30 minutes long. I know it's going to get a couple million fucking views. But also, I'm pretty damn excited to review albums on a regular basis that, frankly, not quite as many people on my channel watch. And I just sort of know and understand that is the nature of the beast. People, for the most part, want to hear about records and artists and albums that they are listening to or happening upon casually, or that they are already big fans of. It is what it is. I will admit, having a good and steady career in content creation of any type typically will require you at some point to follow trends and various happenings within your field of choice, just so that you keep your finger on the pulse and you're in.
Yeah, I'll add to that, where, because people, I remember me and Pat were even making fun of ourselves a bunch, because there was a string where we were talking about Taylor Swift a bunch, and we were making jokes being like the #1 Swiftie podcast and shit. And it's like, you know, we sell ourselves as, you know, a podcast for people who went to Warped Tour a bunch in high school. But at the same time, it is also generally a podcast about the music industry. So, you know, if Taylor Swift does something, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be super relevant to the music industry. It's like, you know, we were joking about, you know, we talk about the shit we talk about, but we also spent a lot of time going over the Drake Kendrick beef, because at the end of the day, we're talking about the music industry. And that was a huge thing that just happened in the music industry. So, you know, yeah, I think it's especially, yeah, if you're talking about a particular industry, it's completely okay to step out of your hyper specific niche to address those things.
Engaging in the kinds of conversations and discourses that people
Thank you, Dunbar. Thank you. That's what I want. I want the bros out here keeping their finger real close to my pulse.
want to have. If music is your passion, as it is for me, even some of the most mainstream or accessible discourse to engage in is pretty fun and entertaining to do. Yeah, this is not really a great look for Finn, at least within the music world anyway. I suppose if you are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and you're just looking for somebody who is going to just mechanically find out ways to market something that you're trying to push to the world, regardless of whether or not they care about it or have any passion for it, Finn may in fact be your guy. And I guess I wish him all the luck in the world with his marketing efforts into the future, as that seems like it's just better of a fit for him personally. But yeah, disappointing, weird and disappointing.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Rare Fantano dub. I was a little harsh out of the gate. But yeah, that's why I always say, like, Fantano knows what he's talking about. I think he just lets a lot of like extra bullshit get in the way sometimes.